Hi, everyone.
Live?
Yep.
Hi. Oh, wrong hand.
Hopefully you're all excited for today's seminar. Webinar. We're going to discuss the JobKeeper payments. Everyone's been talking about it. It's a very big topic at the moment, Celeste.
Oh, absolutely, Clayton. And, you know, there's just the mystery around it and what does it mean for me? And hopefully today this will cover off some general questions for everyone. That's the aim. You know, bring some more scenarios into it as well, especially that Q&A piece at the end. So make sure you leverage that, chuck in some questions to us through the chat box or on Facebook.
Definitely. So you might be wondering, we'll have some questions. If you can't hear us, that's okay. Just turn up your volume. We can't see you, but we can see your comments. So if you want to comment away. Celeste will be checking that out the whole time. Be aware, this is just a general discussion around different points around the JobKeeper program. We definitely recommend talking to your accountant and bookkeeper before taking any action. Don't just take action based off what you're seeing here today. Make sure you're finalizing all the details because you don't want to get it wrong because it could be quite costly. So who are we? Well, I'm Clayton Wood. I've been an accountant for over 14 years. I'm obviously one of the owners of Business Edge Accountants and also run the Escape Room Albury and really just love helping clients win and grow their business and their wealth to their own financial freedom and really empowering them businesses. And then
Absolutely.
Also on the call?
Yeah, pardon? Yeah, I don't know about the technical stuff, but I do the best that I can to keep up with Clayton. So I'm a business growth strategist working with the clients of Business Edge. And, you know, I'm committed to working with those clients to make sure that they can, you know, have that success that they're seeking in their business or, you know, what it was that they're doing, what they love. And, you know, this whole situation that we all find ourselves in has been a chance for us to really connect that little bit deeper with our clients in assisting them and letting them know that we're here to help. And this is what we do. This is why they work with us so that we can be there during these really tough times. So, yeah.
And you know what I've really been loving is those little wins that you're sharing. And there's a lot more wins than what we've just been sharing because it's just the way it is. But I love sharing the wins and I love seeing clients win at all times. So just moving along, thought for the day. So when written in Chinese, the word crisis is composed of two characters. You can see them there on your screen. One represents danger and the other represents opportunity. Now, this was discussed by John F. Kennedy. So we just wanted to think about that. Obviously, there's a lot of danger and a lot of concerns going around in the market at the moment, but just try and keep that glass half full scenario to take on every opportunity that's around and available and making sure you're always just looking for the different opportunities in your business.
Absolutely. So many.
Yes. Today, the agenda, we'll go over the JobKeeper overview, the key points around that, the key dates. We'll talk about which employees would be eligible. Most of all, we're going to go through the process and the steps that you can take now, how to review your payroll setup, what you do when you're going to have to pay your team, and then the next steps. Obviously, we're going to have any questions that you might have, and that's how we're going to get through today. So we'll try and make it as short and sharp as we can. We're only estimating that it's going to go for about 20 minutes, so hopefully we'll keep it succinct for you. Oops, I'm going way too far there. Let's go back. Winning the day already. So we'll just start off with a bit of an overview. So the businesses at the moment that have been affected by coronavirus, you have to have turned down income of more than 30% for at least 1 month. So to be eligible for the JobKeeper payment, you're going to have had 30% reduction in your turnover. Now, there's a fair bit to this, so it's quite a bit unknown. Because it's been passed into law by the government, we still are waiting on the Treasurer's rules around this because, unfortunately, they've left it in the Treasurer's hands to make up the rules as he goes along. So the turnover test will be based on the GST turnover and the GST legislation in regards to sales, GST-free sales. It'll exclude input tax supplies. It'll be off the base of decline in income of 30% compared to the same month or quarter as last year. So You know, you're going to have last year's turnover and then compare it. If it's not reasonable because you've got a high growth business or it's a startup, the ATO has introduced their own sort of a test and ability to have a bit of commissioner discretion. So you'll be able to write to the commissioner of taxation and get some discretion around that. So we don't know a lot about these additional tests and rules, so you're just going to have to bear with us and obviously talk to your accountant next week. The other beautiful part is the payments of $750 per week for each eligible employee. Employees had to have been employed as at the 1st of March 2020, either part-time, full-time, or casual. Obviously, if they've been casual, they have to have been casual for greater than 12 months. So they have to have been employed from the 1st of March 2019. So that's to work out that one. They have to have been actually physically paid to the employees, and obviously the money that you get paid as the employer will be paid in arrears. So once you've paid the employee, you won't actually get the money for a while. It also will apply to sole traders, partnerships and trusts and companies. So especially, like, we're talking a lot of contractors and subbies, and they're not really sure on this because they sometimes don't consider themselves as sole traders. So they're sole traders, gig economy, contractors, they'll all be included. The next step would definitely be to make sure you're registering your updates through the ATO portal.
Yeah. Could I just add, Clayton, and there'll be people that will be querying going, but I'm not an employee, you know, I'm a sole trader, or I'm not an employee of my company or my partnership. So, you know, what does that look like for me? And I think we cover that a little bit later, don't we? So just hang in there. Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be one of each of them about to be paid. So the key dates for employers to look at the moment: 1st of March, employer-employee relationships have to exist. On the 30th of March is when the relevant pay periods begun. So that's when you'll be eligible to start claiming some of the JobKeeper payments from. The 1st of May, is the first subsidy payment paid to employers. So again, there's not a whole lot of definitive answers around that. They're saying the first week of March. So around the first week of May, is when the first payment will be paid to employers, and then monthly subsidy payments after that. So it'll all end on the 27th of September 2020. So it's only a limited window to help businesses affected by the coronavirus. So make sure you're getting your information and registrations as quickly and early as possible. Moving on. So which employees are eligible? This is probably the biggest one. A lot of people aren't really sure on. So really got to get clear on this. Obviously, is the employee currently employed by the eligible employer? This includes people that you might have stood down or rehired. So you might have to work that out with your HR consultants, make sure that you're ticking all the boxes there around that employee-employer relationship. Obviously, they have to have been full-time, part-time employee, or casual. And on that basis, they have to be in some sort of regular, systematic basis for longer than 12 months. So if they're over 16 and they've been employed since the 1st of March 2020, they're in. Obviously, Australian citizens, they can be holders of a permanent visa or a special category subclass 444 visa holder as at the March the 1st, 2020. So basically, I think that one's people from New Zealand. Resident of Australia for tax purposes on the 1st of March. You can only claim the JobKeeper payment for one eligible employee per fortnight before tax to that eligible employee. So you can't, if I have an employee and I want to pay them and someone else is already paying them, then only one employer will be able to claim that. One of the key parts around this is the STP payroll system. So there'll be a lot of updates. I know that Xero is working on their updates and they're going to push that out as quick as they can. They've been working with the government and coding in the background to make it so that the STP all works together with the ATO and succinct in giving you that update ability to run the JobKeeper program. So obviously, if you're already doing STP and you are STP enrolled, you're already halfway there, so that'll work well for you. The process. So when it comes to the process, the simplest thing, get straight off the bat, register your interest with the ATO. There's a link. We've put links in our blogs on our blog, so you can just click on that. We've also posted on Facebook, so hopefully you've already taken that action. calculate your turnover and decline in income. So that's what we just talked about, that 30% done on a GST basis.
Yeah, can I just stop in there for a second? So
Yep.
that what that looks like is, it can be as simple as going and getting your previous lot of BASs. Yeah, so if you're paying GST, go to your previous lot of BASs and compare them, because we just finished a quarter, so you'll have that data there. Hopefully, if you're up to date, that data there to compare and see that 30%.
And unfortunately, a lot of people wouldn't have noticed any downturn until March, maybe April. So that's where that whole commissioner discretion will come in, and that flexibility around identifying that 30% decline and proving that decline. So if you're lodging your BAS in June, you don't want to be registering for this in June when it's already passed and you've had a big decline. You want to be on top of it, even in front of it. But that's talking to the accountant or your bookkeeper and making sure you're aware. Next, identify your qualifying employees. So run through that process of making sure your employees are there. Seek advice around the non-qualifying. So if you've got some employees and you're just not sure about, really seek out that advice, whether it's from your accountant, your bookkeeper, or if you have to go direct to the ATO, do that. Next, make sure you're communicating with your team. So it's pretty much through every step of this stimulus process and this coronavirus, we've been saying the same thing. Talk to your team, make sure they're on board, make sure they're aware, make sure you're all heading in the same direction and they're engaged, so that when this does turn around, they're engaged and we're all heading on the same track. Again, if you're not sure, talk to your HR specialists. The next big thing is consider your cash flow position and your ability to fund the JobKeeper program, because unfortunately, you're not going to get the cash back from the ATO for another month. So it's quite a considerable turnaround. While you're paying out thousands of dollars, could be a month or so until you get it back. Now, moving on to the next one, we want to set up the payroll. Yeah,
kind of just with that process piece there, Clayton, like we were talking earlier, if you want to bring in like your personal scenario with the escape room a little bit.
Yeah, so with the escape room's been closed for a few weeks now, and obviously all of the team and they've been stood down. So now I've got to come up with $1,500 a fortnight for each employee that's eligible to pay them. So that's a massive amount of cash flow each fortnight to be paying out to the team to get them onto the JobKeeper program. And I'm not going to get any cash back until then. And the escape room money is just gone. It's finished. We're not even open. So it's obviously a big
it's a huge impact on those small businesses that actually have no revenue coming in at all. So there's a few tips obviously throughout this as to what you can do and where you can go, which I'm pretty sure you've all got a general idea. It's not what my preference is, but it is what it is.
And I think it's the important part about talking to your team. So having the team on board, making sure they're aware and understanding where everything's sitting with you and the team. Setting up the payroll. So set up the pay type in your payroll system for JobKeeper. So at the moment, the direction is it's probably going to be overtime, because overtime won't include SGC. So if you're adding a pay category right now, that could be it. I'm aware that Xero is creating some extra pay categories to inject in there to make it easier. But again, these things take time for them to roll it out. So hopefully next week or so, that'll be there and ready for you to use. If your employee is currently receiving less than $1,500, then you've got to bring that up to $1,500 for that employee. So if you're paying them $500 a week, then you've got to bring it up to the full $1,500 for the fortnight. So $750 a week or $1,500 a fortnight. And of that portion, that $250 has no SGC, no super guarantee paid on it. But the $500 that you were paying them normally still has SGC. So you've got to make sure you're getting that SGC part correct. You've obviously got employees that have been stood down and you're going to pay them the $1,500 JobKeeper flat. There's no SGC. But if you're paying them $1,500 anyway, just as on wages, and they're still working, but you've had a downturn, but you've just kept them on because you can, then you just got to pay SGC as normal. It's no different. Just keep going as you are. Everything's the same. So calculate your standard pay for non-working employees as if they're working. They get the $1,500. You got to run payroll like you normally do. The SDP will still go through to the ATO for eligible employees. You're still taking your wages out, the tax and stuff like that. And then obviously you can keep reporting to the ATO and STP reporting. So there's both of those parts of the reporting are going on. So I believe
Yeah,
there might be some additional reporting for JobKeeper program, but there's also the STP program. And
you know, so there might be some employees watching not sure what STP is. So that's that single touch payroll, which came into effect last year, which, you know, we can really see the benefits of the ATO digitising now, because this sort of stuff is just, it's trackable, it's going to happen quicker. You know, even though there's that delay of in arrears of that payment, but that processing of checking for the ATO is just going to be such a less onerous job for them, which means better results for you when you're eligible.
And hopefully it'll mean that the businesses will get paid simply and easily, not there'll be less paperwork for us to fill out. So the next, we consider your payroll frequency and cash flow. So as we said, the first payroll fortnight will come up on the 12th, which is Sunday. So it's going to be interesting few days on whether we can do it. From what we've read, you might be able to do a one-off monthly pay run as well, which obviously means $1,500 times 2. So you're paying someone $3,000 for their JobKeeper payment. But again, because the Treasurer hasn't released any rules, we can't give any definitive answers. So moving along, running your payroll. So as I said just before, run your payroll as normal. If they're over $1,500, there's no, just keep it going, no different. If it's under $1,500, then you're going to have to increase their pay to $1,500. So that'll be, say, $1,000 regular payroll and $500 JobKeeper payroll. The JobKeeper payroll's got no SGC on any of the additional payments. You'll need to assign those gross payments for STP. So you need to make sure that you're being very clear on what is and isn't in the JobKeeper part, so that you can match and reconcile it ongoing. Normal pay-as-you-go withholding rules apply. So, you know, depending on what they've ticked, whether they've got help debts, whether they've got tax-free thresholds or not, make sure you're ticking the right ones there. Child support, you know, all those things are just normal. You have to pay them just like you normally do with your payroll. So that's a good thing, that these things are going to keep some normalcy to it. And then just pay your employees like normal. Download your ABA file, upload it to the bank, and pay your employees through the bank. Next, so the JobKeeper payments are made in arrears by the ATO. So what does that mean? That means that you could be paying out $1,500 this week, but you're not going to get that back until the first week of May. It's quite a lengthy turnaround. With regards to the $1,500 JobKeeper as well, so you can still pay the super. So if the employee's been stood down and you're feeling like you can afford it, you can still pay the $1,500 super. So you can pay the super. You don't have to. It's not mandatory. Obviously, if you're struggling, you got no income, you're probably not going to be paying it. But if you've got a bit of cash in the bank and you're feeling generous and you love your team, pay it. Normal pay-as-you-go conditions apply, child support, so run all that. And then, yeah, the first government sort of SME is going to get funded from the 1st of the month, from the 30th of March. So the JobKeeper program started on the 30th of March, and I know we're already a week into that. So that's how that's going to work. Moving on. So next we've got how are you going to fund it, basically, and who can you turn to help? So as we talked about, talk to your HR experts if in doubt. So, you know, talk to Linda and the team at Total HRM. They're amazing, local Albury group, and yeah, had great experiences with them. So if you're putting your team on or off, jump on board with them and make sure you're aware of where you stand. You don't want to get it wrong because it could have massive implications later. Employers won't receive any payments from the government till the first week of May. So that's why we just keep talking about this payment in arrears. It's going to be massive impact on businesses. The beautiful part is I've seen the big banks, the big four, ANZ, CBA, Westpac and NAB, they're all doing stuff. I had a look on the Hume. They're doing different things to help customers. A lot of banks have got access to the government backing to make this happen, a part of the stimulus that the government put out there to help make this happen. So, you know, if you have to request a short-term overdraft or get a bit of loan funding from the banks to make this happen, get on the front foot and start working out what your options are there. Indications are pointing towards the fact that you can get the overdraft, won't cost you anything and won't charge you any interest unless you actually physically need it. So that's what the government was pushing for, which is great.
Yeah.
But the best option, which a few clients have already got, especially the ones in Victoria, is the $10,000 grant. So there's $10,000 that the New South Wales and the Victorian governments are putting out there. Unfortunately, New South Wales is just so far behind. They're not even releasing it until the 17th of April. So hopefully we'll get more information on that next week.
Yeah, hopefully. But for those Victorian clients that have got that 10K, that, you know, and you've only got a few employees, that's just a bit of a lifeline for you to utilise in this space for that JobKeeper to look after your team if you're in the position to do so.
It's massive. So make sure you're applying for that. If you're in doubt, have a look, see if you're eligible. One of the biggest eligibility requirements is that you have employees. So if you're looking at the JobKeeper program, you should be looking at the $10,000 grant from the government. Moving on to the questions part of today. So we had a couple of questions early on, Celeste, specifically around if you're a partnership, trust, or maybe you've got a company. So partnerships aren't just with two people. A lot of time you see it's a husband and wife thing. Generally, they don't pay each other wages. Unfortunately, one of the key parts around this is the JobKeeper program is for sole traders. So if you don't have any employees and you're a sole trader, you can get a JobKeeper program. If you're a partnership of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, only one person can get the JobKeeper program.
JobKeeper. Yeah.
Same with the trust. If you pay yourself through a trust and you've got 4 people getting paid through the trust, only one person's eligible to get the JobKeeper. If you're a director of a company, only one person can get it. So we'll have more information on that when the treasurer gives us direction around the rules and requirements, but hopefully when we get that information, we can put it out there and make everyone aware. So that's one important part.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really key that people know that, so that, you know, could be a situation where there's 2 of you in it. One partner is eligible for the job seeker and one partner is eligible for the JobKeeper. So you've got to then go and make those decisions. And that's, you know, that's where you pull your team in. That's where you talk to your trusted advisors, your accountant, to see like which option is going to work best and how can we make this fair. Definitely.
We have seen that there could be some scope for special applications. So being that 2 weeks has already passed on this before it has even been legislated, they're going to maybe have some special circumstances with some luck, Celeste, that will have like everything. So that means that you'll be able to do that monthly pay that I was talking about. So we're just going to wait and see, as with everything, what the rules come about. I did just see some good news. So if you don't currently use a digital platform like Xero, hit us up, because Xero have just released that you can get 6 months of single touch payroll compliant Xero with all business edition plans with 50% off for 6 months. Yeah. So if you need to get on the cloud and get digital with your CP, great opportunity.
And this, like, all this stuff was covered in our business continuity planning webinar that we did right at the beginning, back in May the 20th or something like that, because it was talking about all these little things you need to do to get organised, talking to your bank, you know, making sure you're digital, your STP, all those little things. So if back then all that work was getting done, you're preparing yourself for this particular stimulus package to make it easier on you and, you know, less of a, an onerous task of getting ready to be able to request it, apply.
And another quick one, if you haven't got your BASs and your tax return lodged and up to date, talk to your accountant, get in there, get it all done, get everything up to date, because at the end of the day, the ATO is going to be, the whole reason is it's going through the ATO is so people get this stuff up to date. I had someone talking to me about, why is it going through the ATO? Well, they're pushing it through the ATO instead of Centrelink because they want everyone to be up to date with their BASs and their tax returns to become eligible for this stuff. They don't want it to be falling behind. So they're not just hanging out cash willy-nilly. They're making sure you put it up. And, in line for that. So no more questions? We're good? We're good? Winning?
Yep, I think we're good. Yep.
Excellent. Next steps. So here's the important part. How can we help you? We can help you by doing a business continuity planning workshop. So DM us for more information. We're putting that workshop together. We're thinking about doing it next week. We're just putting down the final touches. So if you're interested in that, DM us, hit us up, email, whatever works for you. If you're not a client, there's obviously the proactive accounting meeting, free discovery sessions. So if you jump on our website, book now. It's all through Calendly. It's all easy. We can do it over Zoom, just video session, just like this. We generally have great outcomes for clients or non-clients that become clients, because there's always we always give so much good stuff away during those proactive accounting meetings. I'm sure there's people on here today that can account for that. We had a great success with the Ask Us Anything sessions the other day, Celeste. So
absolutely. Let's look at making it more regular, hey?
I think we're going to make that regular for Tuesday afternoons. So keep an eye out for that and book in for the Ask Us Anything session. If you're not a client, you can even book in for that, and you'll get 15 minutes with us to ask us anything. So we're just hearing a lot of people aren't getting contact with their accountants and they're not talking to them, so that makes it tough. The next thing, so much going on with this coronavirus stimulus. Don't want you to miss out on any tax planning opportunities. There's so much going on with tax planning. There are still a lot of businesses out there that are eligible for both, and you don't want to miss out. So that's quite important. Next step. So the biggest thing right now for you to do is to make sure you're registered with the ATO, which hopefully just about everybody's already done that. Book in with us, talk to your accountant, bookkeeper, get in and make sure you're on the front step with them. Prepare your payroll system for JobKeeper. Project out your cash flow to pay the JobKeeper. At the end of the day, nothing's perfect. So you can't expect everything to be perfect straight off the bat. And just like the ATO and the government's been putting out there, we don't have all the answers because they haven't given us them.
But in saying that we don't have all the answers, I can tell you that Clayton is very, very well connected with different aspects of in the accounting space, the taxation that he can lean on and get that advice from. So it's not like you're a lone person accountant working in this space. The collaboration that is going on in the background amongst accountants is just next level. So have that confidence in your accountant that they're connected and that they're getting that information out there. And that's what's been able to give us that ability to make sure that we can get that information to you guys, because we can assimilate it quite quickly because it's within our reach.
And after this webinar, we'll put up a checklist. So Celeste has been amazing. She's created a little JobKeeper checklist to keep you on track. So you can check that off, and we'll put that up on the website and make that available for everyone to download so you can not miss anything. And parting thought for the day, anyone can lead when the plan is working. The best lead when the plan falls apart. That's by Raman Sharma. So, at the end of the day, this is your opportunity to stand up and lead from the front and, show your team.
Find those opportunities as well, hey?
Jess has just asked a question.
Oh, she has too. What do you reckon?
We can answer that just before we finish up.
Yeah, why not?
If an employee is employed by both her employees, is she still eligible?
Right. Okay. So that piece was in a little bit earlier within the webinar, where you've got to get it from one or the other.
Yeah.
You can't double dip and get it twice off the two employees. You can only get it off one.
Yeah. So if you've got an employee, him or her is employed by two businesses, they can only get JobKeeper program from one. Usually their main employer. So unlikely they're going to be split 20 hours each. But in the case, usually the employee should just go to one or the other. Again, that's the whole point around discussing it with your team. So
that's exactly right. Talking to them and what's going to work, who's going to wear what load. So awesome, great question.
We kept it to 30 minutes.
Thanks, everybody. It's amazing.
We'll catch you all soon. Enjoy.
Awesome. Thanks.
Get safe. Bye.
See ya.